ready. We're about to cut our template, and I've knocked off some excess just to make this smaller so I get the camera up closer. I'm going to zoom in and I'm going to bring you down on the camera angle here, so bear with me. Again, I hope my hands will be out of the way for this, but there's not a whole lot I can do about that. So what we're going to be cutting is this inside line, because that's where we needed, so that we could get our bit to cut between these two lines. All of this is excess. I put this in just for reference. This inside lines are an important line that we're going to be cutting to. So here we go. Oh, how do I want to start this? Let's decide what I'm going to do here. I'm probably going to come in this way. Okay everyone, so you're going to see me here. I'm just not even bothering to follow the lines. All I'm doing is getting this excess material out of my way. And then I'm going to come back in, like you see here, and follow the lines a little more closely. When you're using a bandsaw, it's exceptionally important that you maintain a 3-inch rule around your blade. Those of you who can do this will be able to keep all your thumbs. So remember that's the rule of thumb is 3 inches. And then you'll see me shift my hands here. I use 2 hands for control where I need to, but it's always best just to maintain a slow and steady cut with this. Take your time, that way you keep all of your fingers. And if you keep all of your fingers, I can guarantee you'll be a happy woodworker. So as we continue through here, I'm just continuing to follow the line. This is a rough cut. I'm not trying to follow my inner line exactly. We're going to come over to a disc sander for that. So always remember, slow and steady, keep your fingers, don't invade that blade space, and use what you have to for control, but always take your time. Now you'll notice I deliberately left my line on here because I'm going to even this on my disc sander. So all I was doing was coming in very, very close. I trimmed off most of that other line, all except for right here, and I will take that off on the disc sander. So that is the template for our tambour track. Be right back with the disc sander. Alright everyone, I'm bringing you into a real close-up view right here. And here we go. Coming in right against that line. Hi everyone. So as you're watching this, notice that I am moving from the right to the left. I like to do this in one direction. I find that it gives me a really clean edge. I'm also using very, very light pressure. You don't need a whole lot of pressure to do this. So as I move forward and advance, I slowly back up, come very slowly back into the area I need to sand back down, and then continue to advance in a very fluid, consistent motion. If you're jumpy and you stop, you're going to end up with rough areas and flat spots in your cut. So when you're doing this on a curve, it's important to have light but consistent movement. And as I get closer to finishing this, you'll start to see that more and more, that I just continue to pull through in one fluid motion, and that gives me a real nice edge. So I hope the close-up shot is giving you a really good look at what I've got going on with this. MDF is a really good product to use for a template. It sands down real easy, and it's cheap. So let's face it, you don't want to spend a lot of money on a product that's just a template that you're going to toss someday. So as we continue to watch, I'm just finishing up I'm bringing that edge right into that pencil mark, and you can start to see that I'm starting to move over a larger area now. We back off, we come back up, and then we use that fluid motion again to get a nice consistent edge. It's also important to note that the reason I'm using the left side of my disc is that's where the downward force is. As that disc is rotating, the side of the disc over on the right hand side is pulling up, and the side of the disc on my left is pulling down. So this is just basic safety for using one of these machines. You use the left side of the disc because it's pulling down against the table. That's very important to know when you're using a disc sander. If you try and use the right hand side, or the side that's pulling up on your machine, it can pull the piece out of your hands. And there we go. Hopefully the camera got all of that. We have a nice smooth edge. I can still see my pencil line right along there. So I know I'm going to have a nice smooth track when I cut that with my router. Let me reset the camera and I'll zoom out. So here we are, all zoomed out. Our track is completely smooth and finished. I'm happy with that, and I'm ready to set that down on my other template and see how it's going to look. Alright, so trying to give you the bird's eye view again. Here's what we just cut out, and if I set this in here, you can see that I have an absolutely beautiful fit. And I set this up for demonstration purposes. Here is my router plate that's going on my router. I've got my bushing installed already. And when I set my router down, this edge that's right here is going to ride up against this edge, and it will cut my track as I go through. So that is how you cut a template for your router. When we set this down, we'll be coming in from this side, but this will just follow right up along and through, and it will cut the path for our door. I hope you've enjoyed this. When we come back, we will probably be marking and cutting out the actual camber track with the router. Thanks for watching.